Hi guys, it's Miss Megan. It's starting to get cold outside. So my husband and I made something for one of my friends. It's an idea I had for a choice box. And it's a little bit different than what I could find online to purchase. And so I want to see if this works, and I'll kind of explain my thoughts as to why I chose to kind of shape it like this, knowing that with every kid, sometimes you have to change. So let me show you what I've got. So the friend I'm thinking of is working on making two choices, okay? And what I would like is a consistent surface for him to navigate left side, right side. I wanted there to be like a box formation, but I didn't want the separating the dividers to be too high so that it's not too intrusive or hard to lift my hand over, but there's a definite separation of spot 1 and 2 or left and right and that sort of thing, so that if the object moves around for a totally blind student, it's not going to fall out or fall off. I've got a little bit of a prop here so that it tilts back, and so that way objects stay in there, whereas if it was flat, I was worried about things kind of flopping off. So it's got this little lip to help kind of cup things in the back wall and keep it stabilized. And then I picture this as being not too heavy to where it's like dangerous, but heavy enough that if a student is blind and feeling their way around this, they're not gonna just like shove it out of the way either. If you put some shelf liner underneath here, you then have two really nice divided sections of choice 1 and 2. And so for my student, and I don't have the same objects that this student is using, but this is a good example. So music and drink. And so if you're always doing music on the left, you would put it there. If it's always on the right, you would put it there. And then you'd be consistent with everyone working on making choices. And the objects, I really like them to be real whenever possible. And if it can't be a real object, it just has to be consistent. But when we're working on developing concepts, I really encourage you to think about the texture of whatever we're touching, because, for example, like this is a plastic spoon and this is a plastic cup, but when I'm blind, I'm feeling plastic. So unless I really have the patience to explore the shape, I'm not going to necessarily catch the difference right away. Whereas those of us who have vision, we of course can see what the choices are. And so make sure your choices are very different in the beginning so that you have a good feel for, okay, does this student want music and have that object there, or do they have the cup? I would say that this is going to take a lot of time to learn to navigate your choices on either side with both hands. Some of my friends that I work with are very tactile defensive. And so if the wood, we tried to sand it so there's nothing like sharp or rough. It's pretty smooth actually. So we might not need these things, but this is a very busy pattern. I would not use this for low vision students with other impairments. However, the student that I got this for is totally blind. So what I could do is glue that down so that it's a little bit of a softer surface. And if that doesn't work, I could actually, the student I'm thinking of really likes soft things. And so I could even take some of this craft fur, and I know it sounds silly, but if they love touching soft, this might be a motivator to get their hand in there to grab the object that we're working towards. So important notes are not to have too aggressive of a divider, because if you have trouble reaching, you might you might get stuck on it, and then you're just like, whatever, this is too hard, Miss Megan, I'm done. I'm not going to even touch that. I don't like touching things all the time. So I'm hoping that this lower divider will keep objects in there, but make it a little easier to lift up and over for motor purposes. And then you can help them by, okay, do you want music or do you want cup? And then we've talked a little bit about like a guided reach, hand over hand, hand under hand, and see if you can get them to touch. Let them think about it, give them that processing time, and then go from there. Once your student's consistently choosing between music or drink, you can start adding in other things. And so you could do, okay, is it time to eat? Time to drink? Which one do you want first? You're teaching them to advocate for themselves. So if they do touch a choice, make sure we give them something to taste right away. Giving other examples, you could do if your student has a nap time or they have a lovey that they sleep with, you could change up the objects into, okay, is it nighttime? Is it time to rest? Time for drink? Which one? And you can say the student's name and say, your turn, teacher, or Miss Megan wants to take a break. I need a rest. I need a break. So those are just some other examples. So work really closely with your other therapists and team members. And if the student, for example, is nailing it, and they add in some other objects and they're accurately choosing, maybe they want food instead of music, which is a desired item, then you could potentially start checking for understanding. But that's a very advanced thing, so then we would almost try to trick them to encourage them to explore both sides. And it's not really you're tricking them, but you're teaching them to search and understand, wait a minute, that's not music anymore. What's over here? Oh, this is the one I want, Miss Megan. So that's a down the road progression of choice that I would work towards. And again, these are just ideas. Every kid is different. It's super, super important that you collaborate with the whole team and the family, because if everybody's doing something different, it can just get a little bit confusing. So let me know if you have any questions. Really think about the texture of objects that you're using. A metal spoon is, for example, going to be very cold. So maybe a metal spoon is better than a plastic spoon if we're also presenting a plastic cup. And some students, they're not going to be that sensitive to the texture and they will recognize the shape. So it's just something to think about and to monitor when we're looking at making successful choices. For those friends of ours that have no vision and are nonverbal, and you could use some of these ideas for low vision kids too, but this video I made specifically for a totally blind friend of mine who does not verbalize yet. So I hope that helps. These are just ideas. Have fun with it. Work with your teammates and your families and parents, and let me know what I can do to help, guys. Have a good one. Bye.